We're going to be looking at the vicious cycle of money and politics and what all this means ultimately for political outcomes and public attitudes. This is really critical. This is critically important. But before we begin, class, say hello to your relatives, your parents, anybody watching this who you know? Yes. Here's the issue. There has been a significant increase in corporate election spending, labor corporate membership associations. In other words, a huge amount of money coming into the political system. And we've talked about this. I just want to make sure you see this, and all of you see this graphically. And I want to contrast labor money to corporate money and also trade association money. We're going to look at, starting in 1978, look at all the way through really as recently as we can get the data. And here's what you see. You see that not only has all of this money increased dramatically, but it's not increased from every source in the same proportion. And this is an important reality. Labor money has actually increased, but now in the last 10 years, labor money in politics has actually dropped because labor union membership has dropped so dramatically. But what we see is corporate money continues to increase dramatically, and trade associations that are mostly corporate trade associations in green, they continue to increase dramatically. So it's not as if you have a balance between labor and corporations. You actually have corporations more and more money in politics, and labor less and less money in politics in absolute terms, and also in terms of any kind of countervailing power to corporate money. What about individual campaign contributions by wealthy individuals? Now, I'm not even talking about dark money here. I'm just talking about the amount of money coming into big campaigns, presidential campaigns, from wealthy individuals. And I'm only looking at the top 1/100th of 1%, the richest 1/100th of 1% of Americans. Not the top 1%, not the top 1/10th of 1%. We're talking about the richest 1/100th of 1% of Americans. And take a look at this. We're going to start in 1979 all the way up to 2013. And we're looking at the share of total contributions coming from the richest 1/100th of 1%. Take a look. And we only have good data from up to the 2012 election cycle, but that meant in 2012, 40%, folks, 40% of all individual campaign contributions were coming from the top 1/100th of 1%. Extraordinary concentration of wealth in our political system. And here is the vicious cycle. When I talk about the vicious cycle of money and wealth in politics, here is what I am talking about. You have concentrated wealth at the top provides more clout to get changes in laws and regulations as well as their interpretation and enforcement. And we've been talking about that. But as a result, these changes in laws and regulations increase the wealth at the top. This is the vicious cycle. This is the vicious cycle. And this generates more wealth and more power at the top. You see? You understand this. You see how it builds on itself, how it becomes more and more of a vicious cycle. Do you trust the government to do what is right all or most of the time? And you do this at home. Do you trust the government to do what is right all or most of the time? A, yes. B, no. Go. And we'll see what you come up with, and we'll see, hopefully, what you come up with. And everybody has clickers. See, they have clickers, so they can do this anonymously. And let's end the bidding, and let's see what you think. Yes or no? Okay, 85% of you do not trust the government to do what is right all or most of the time. Only 14% of you do. Now, let me just emphasize, this is Berkeley. All right, this is University of California, Berkeley. These are students here at Berkeley. Only 14% of them trust government to do what is right all or most of the time. I don't know how you are voting out there, but let's see what the rest of the country feels, because there have been, the Gallup organization has asked the same question for years. And let's take a look. This is public trust in government. Do you trust government to do the right thing all or most of the time? Starting in 1958, going through 2015, take a look. It starts when I was a mere young man, when I was your age. It was about up to 60% or more. Actually, it was up higher than 70%. Trusted government to do the right thing all or most of the time. And then it dropped, and now we are about at 16%. Berkeley students, 14%. Most of the public, this is all done before Donald Trump became president, by the way, down at 15 or 16%. Now, do you understand the threat to our democratic system because of this? Why is trust so low? Why do you distrust government? Why don't you trust government is going to be doing the right thing most of the time? Why? Anybody? Why? Where does your distrust come from? Yes? It comes from your president. Your president.
Yeah, our president.
Your president.
Have a
Your president.
Yeah.
You don't trust your president.
Right.
But this is a long-term decline. Mm-hmm. So you trusted government to do the right thing all or most of the time before Trump?
I think right now it's like especially like polarizing.
Right now, especially.
For Berkeley students.
Especially right now. So if I asked this question, let's say 3 years ago, 2 years ago, PT, pre-Trump, there would have been a different answer.
I think for
It wasn't really different. It wasn't really all that different. Yes. Legislation, it's the money. Legislation and the regulations and all the things we've been talking about overwhelmingly are being determined by big money. Big money. And whether you're liberal or conservative, that big money is a problem. In fact, I was talking to some conservatives, real conservatives, not that long ago, who don't really like, their big problem was crony capitalism. They said we've got to get big money out of politics. And basically, I agree. The rigging of the political economy has created a huge backlash. A huge backlash. And some people say, well, Hillary Clinton supporters and Donald Trump supporters agree on absolutely nothing. Well, I have news for you, and news for you, because take a look at what I'm about to show you. This is based on surveys. And this is Clinton supporters in blue, Trump supporters in red, and we're going to look at who is the economy rigged to benefit, according to Clinton supporters or Trump supporters. Well, take a look. There is not that much difference. Clinton supporters, Trump supporters, they think the economy overwhelmingly is rigged to benefit the rich, politicians, corporations, banks, and bank executives. It doesn't matter whether you voted for Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. You believe that the economy is rigged for these people. And indeed, what we've seen is that more and more money is coming from these people, so it is not illogical to make that conclusion. The bottom line here, folks, we need to get big money out of politics. It's up to you. It's up to you. Thanks.